You're listening to the 212th edition of the Bitachon podcast. We're studying the passuk in Tehillim Kuf Ches, passuk Ches, 118, verse 8. Toiv lach asayis b'Hashem mi b'toich ba'adam. It's good to trust in Hashem more than to trust in a human being. Now the Meir Tehillim tells us something which it's a little bit challenging to hear. So I just warn you at the outset. He says like this: He says that Am Yisrael did something which was a mistake. And it's a natural thing to do, and we do it all the time. They trusted in Yosef, HaTzadik. Yosef said to them, Yosef said to them, I will sustain you. Right? Let's remember, Hashem is the one who sustains us. But Yosef said to them, don't worry, there's a famine in Israel. You're here in Egypt. I'm going to sustain you. I'm going to take care of you. But the mistake was that Yosef could not save them. He's puts in here in brackets, which I'm not sure is correct as to what's being said here, but he says he couldn't save them from the shibud of Mitzrayim, from the enslavement in Egypt. But I would venture to say that he couldn't save them from their lack of food either, which means to say it was a mistake for him to say that he's the one sustaining them. Kadosh Baruch Hu created this whole situation, as Yosef himself said. You didn't send me. You thought to do wrong, but Hashem had a plan to sustain a great amount of people through his actions, through Yosef's actions. But Yosef was not the Machalkel. Yosef was not the one who actually sustained them, gave them food. It was Hashem who did it. Yosef was the agent. Gamba Midbar, says the Meir Tehillim, in the wilderness as well. Now listen to this, because this is incredible. This is so deep. It's so important. Am Yisrael in the Midbar, they're called the Dor Deah. When they were traveling for 40 years in the wilderness, they're called the generation of knowledge. What does Dor Deah mean? What is this generation of knowledge? What it means is that they had intimate connection to Hashem. There's a medrash that tells us that they had Ruach HaKodesh whenever the Anoni HaKavod were there, when the clouds of Hashem's glory were there, the Shekhinah rested upon Am Yisrael, the divine presence of God. So they knew things. There could be a box next to them. They knew what was in the box without looking in the box, because they were connected into Hashem. And when you're connected into Hashem, you know things that you don't naturally know. They were the Dor Deah. They were the ones who knew stuff. They intimately knew Hashem. They had a real connection, which, by the way, anyone can get, and that's what Bitachon is. That's what we're talking about. But he says here that if not for the fact that they had that connection, if they didn't have a deep, intrinsic connection to Hashem, Moshe could not have, quote, saved them at the sea. It was because of their connection to Hashem that the miracle happened for them, that the sea split for them. They got into the wilderness, there was no water. It was miraculous. They had water, came out from a rock. Since when does water come out from a rock? Where did the man come from? The miraculous manna came from heaven. Who provided it for them? It was Hashem himself. Why? Because they were the Dor Deah. It wasn't Moshe who did it. Moshe did not do it. It was maybe in the schus of Moshe, it was in the schus of Aaron, it was in the schus of Miriam. But it was all about Hashem doing it directly for them, because they had themselves a connection to Hashem that was real. They could feel. That's what it means in the passuk. It's better to trust in Hashem than trusting in a human being. Gam Pinchas Yomer, Tov Lachsais Hashem Bitachon ben Nedivim. Interesting. So before Pinchas, we'll get to Pinchas, but what it's saying is, it is better to trust in Hashem than to trust in a human being. Don't ever think that the human being is the one doing it for you. You get a bracha from a tzaddik. Don't ever make a mistake and think that the tzaddik gave you that thing. It's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Maybe, as my Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Per Zechariah the Bracha would say, maybe when you get a bracha, it helps you feel Bitachon. It helps you feel connected to the point that Hashem gives it to you, what you need or what you want. But it's not the tzaddik. Let's not make a mistake. It's Hashem. And I will add, it's my connection to Hashem that brings me what I need. It's not his connection. Maybe I can get into my connection to Hashem through the help of someone outside of me, but it's still my connection to Hashem because Hashem is connected to each and every one of us. Pinchas also says it's better to trust in Hashem than to trust in any Nedivim, are important people. Literally, it means a generous person, but here it's going to mean somebody who's powerful. Kim Moshe v'Aaron by Rigas Hanasi Zimri. Pinchas went and single-handedly took a spear and he killed an offender. Zimri, who was having an illicit relationship with a woman, was forbidden to him in front of Kol Kahal Ve'eda, in front of the entire Jewish people. And he steps in and he doesn't get power from Moshe and Aaron. They say, we don't know. We don't know the halacha. We don't know what to do. And Pinchas goes directly, as it were, to the source and does what he knows is right. Hard example, but Al tivtachu b'nedivim. He had to trust in Hashem and not trust even in the tzaddikim that were around him. It's a hard concept. We're used to thinking about going to tzaddikim for brachas, going to my Rosh Hashiva for an eitzah. We're used to going to Arabanim, and that's correct. That's correct. We need people who have a deeper connection to Hashem to guide us, because we're not there perhaps. But we need to know when that direction comes, it's not that person. It's Hashem. When that blessing comes, it's not that person. It's Hashem. And let's see, it's very interesting. He brings here a note. It's very interesting that which Rabbi Yerucham Levavitz writes in his Sefer Das Chachma Musar. It's in Chelik Beis and Chavches. Rabbi Yerucham writes that when the Chavetz Chaim passed away, Chavetz Chaim, the Gaon Hador, to this very day, we lean upon him. Kal Yisrael in the Sefer Mishnah Brura, we lean on him. In the Sefer Chavetz Chaim, we lean on him. So much that one person gave to the Jewish people. So much koach, so much encouragement, so much connection. When the Chavetz Chaim passed away, Rabbi Yerucham says as follows: "Chashavti az ma yiyeh achshav kol zman shu haya chai itanu." What's going to be now? As long as the Chavetz Chaim was alive with us, we could trust in him. We could depend on him. We knew he was there. He was a trustworthy, foundational, someone we could depend on, someone we could lean on. The truth is that we've lost many great tzaddikim, says Rabbi Yerucham, and we're like orphans because of that. As long as Chavetz Chaim was still alive, we could console ourselves. He says, but when the Chavetz Chaim died, so we just became like depressed, empty, terrible situation. That's how we thought about it. And he says that when I thought about this at length, so I consoled myself. Ki ein les ya'ish. that we don't need to give up hope. Ve'ha'im ava tikva, could it be that there's no more hope? Le'habayre kayam, the Creator is still here. Emes shakol nevad aval harei noisen atayra hu kayam la'ad. It's true that we've lost it all. We've lost the Chavetz Chaim. We've lost everything. But the one who gave the Torah, he's here forever. Chavetz Chaim, he was a connector person, an inspiring person, someone who gave us an example, someone who we leaned upon and knew that if I can't have Bitachon, he could have Bitachon. If I can't daven, he could daven. Im emes batal harei barei ha'emes kayam. Even if one who represented truth is gone, but the one who created truth is still here. Why do I need to be worried? Our Father in heaven, He will stay with us forever and ever. What are we really missing? What are we really missing? It's very interesting. And I think it's an issue that we all face. We think, oh, there are tzaddikim out there. There are tzaddikim out there. Today, we kind of feel a similar way. We lost Reb Chaim Kanievsky. We lost Reb Aaron Leib Steinman. We've lost this great Gedolim. But there are still tzaddikim. Shmuel Kamenetsky. There's still tzaddikim. Rav Moshe Hillel Hirsch. There's still tzaddikim. There's still people who are kol kulam batal to Hashem. Their tefillah is a real tefillah. Their prayers are real prayers. Their Torah is real Torah. Their Bitachon is real Bitachon. So it gives us a little bit of an excuse. I don't have to do it. I don't have to be such a big tzaddik. My tefillah doesn't have to be a real tefillah. My Bitachon doesn't have to be a real Bitachon. Rabbi Yerucham is giving us a wake up, and the Meir Tehillim is giving us a wake up as well. Moshe Rabbeinu, can you imagine being in his generation? We're waiting for Mashiach because we have this feeling like when Mashiach comes, everything's going to be okay, and it's true. But I had this feeling that Mashiach is not going to fix all our problems. He's going to help us do the work of getting into a real relationship with Hashem, so that Hashem can fix our problems. Bitachon is a personal thing. It's not something that anyone else can. Someone else could have Bitachon for me. That's the truth. We've talked about that, but that's just a crutch. A bracha from a tzaddik, it's beautiful, it's special, but it's just a crutch. I got to go straight to the source. I got to go straight to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I got to change myself in such a way that I'm the tzaddik. I'm the tzaddik. If the tzaddik cares about other people, I gotta care about other people. If the tzaddik really feels like he can't do anything on his own, and it's all really Hashem, I gotta feel like I can't do anything on my own, and it's all really Hashem. I'd like to read on with you from the Tilas Hashemi Bal Hashevet Musar. There's two little pieces here from him, and there's a Maram Shik in the middle. He says an important thing, that when I start trusting in Hashem, it starts off hard. Think about the people who moved to Eretz Yisrael. It starts off hard. It's not easy. It's a lot easier to depend on another person. Hey, can you help me out? It's easier to say that to somebody, to a person, and say, can you help me out? To trust in Hashem, it's pain in the beginning. And then, he says, it's better still to trust in Hashem, because even though at the beginning it starts off, it doesn't feel like it's working. It doesn't feel like it's happening. I don't get immediate results when I trust in Hashem. But in the end, there's peace. And it's the opposite when I trust in a human being, because it's like a drug. It's like a quick fix. I get a momentary release. I get a momentary, I'm taken care of momentarily, but on the other side of it, it doesn't work out so good. I'm always dependent on that person then. When I depend on Hashem, I'm only dependent on Hashem. At the beginning, it doesn't seem to work, but in the end, it does. Brings here from the Ram Shik. At the time when it's possible to trust in a human being, it's better to trust in Hashem. When a person realizes and really takes to heart the fact that there's nobody who can really help him. There's nobody who can really help him, because human beings are limited in their abilities. The human being is like a stranger in the world. The Chavis Halavavis writes, interesting. He ends off by saying that when I realize that no one can really help me, any power that person has is really Hashem's power. When I get that clarity, so the truth, which is my nature, comes out. This is a really important point. The truth, which is my nature, my nature is to be a truster. My nature is to be a Baal Bitachon. All my fears, all of my anxieties, all of my judgments, all of my beliefs of how things are supposed to be, all of these things block me. They cover up the truth which is inside. You look at a little kid. I look at my little son, he's 2 years old. He just trusts. He just trusts. There's nothing else. There's no plans and conspiring and thinking that I'm going to get anything. I'm going to do anything. The natural state of ourselves is to trust in Hashem. All these things that we've learned are all just things that we've learned. Oh, if I go to this one, it'll help me. Oh, if I do this, it's going to work for me. We just got to peel that away. Just release the things that we think. Brings here on the bottom. Actually, I'm going to skip this little thing on the bottom. And I'm going to go on to here to the Tilas Hashem Ibal Shivat Amos. He comes back to a little piece from him. You'll see it's better to trust in Hashem than trusting in a human. When you trust in a person, you do get something out of it. There is some kind of advantage. You do seem to get a result. He says a similar idea to what we just said, that it's better to trust not in the human being. The human being might have some power, but it's Hashem's power. Go straight to the source. The person who you're trusting in is only able to help you because something Hashem has given him. You know, people come to me because I've put out music and I've made up songs, and there's a certain amount of siyata d'shmaya that they've had, and they think that if they come to me, maybe I can help them. But I always say to them, you got to do it for yourself. And what it really means is you have to create your own connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's going to give you the siyata d'shmaya that you need to succeed. The best thing is to go straight to the source. Trust in Hashem. He is the power behind everything. He is the main thing. Here he brings from the Tal Iris. It certainly makes sense that a person, he says it doesn't make sense. Interesting, okay? So this is not the shita of the altar of Nevardik, okay? This is going to be more of the Chavis Halavois for the Balabatim HaYireim. He says, depending on a miracle is not the way to go. And we can discuss this, whether This is something that's, the approach for any individual. It's better not to depend on a miracle, but rather, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we should focus on asking Hashem for help to guide us in giving us the right path to take and the means of getting what we need through other people. Of course, it's true. There's nothing that will stop Hashem from giving us what we need in a miraculous way, like the manna in the wilderness, like the man. But what does Hashem want? Of course, Hashem could give us whatever we need, and He could do it miraculously, but He doesn't always do that. Let's say it that way. So what is it that Hashem wants us to do? He wants us to find ways of getting what we need through people, so that we take out the sparks of holiness from the other side. Meaning, when a person gets help from somebody else, so it looks like it's that person, but as we said at the beginning, I need to try to recognize that it's not really that person. I need to take the sparks of holiness. This is really Hashem. It's really Hashem. I need to find Hashem's sparks which are found inside of it. Like the Arizal says. He also explains that if Hashem would always give us things miraculously, without any kind of actions on our parts, so it would take away our free will. A person would have no choice but to serve Hashem, because he sees that it's Hashem who is bringing him what he needs, giving him his livelihood. That's why Hashem wanted specifically to give it to us through other means, through indirect means. And yes, it's true, there will be people who will think that the means themselves are the source, instead of realizing that it's Hashem. But our job is to be like tzaddikim, to be righteous. Let us be like the righteous, who realize that it's you, Hashem. Hashem wants us to overcome our Yetzer Hara and trust in Hashem, even though it looks like it's a human being. And then we'll have lots of reward for this. And that's why we look for actions that we can take in order to understand within those actions that it's Hashem who's doing it. We're attaching ourselves as we do the actions to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what he's understanding to me in the passuk. When it means it's better to trust in Hashem rather than trusting in a person, it means it is imperative to trust in Hashem when I'm trusting in a person. When I'm doing something that looks like I'm trusting in a person, when I'm doing something which is a normal hishtadlus, I have to make sure I'm injecting it constantly with a recognition that it's Hashem and not me, not that person. Which means to say that we need to have bitachon. We complete it. We human beings complete things with our bitachon. That's what it sounds like it's saying. That's why we attach ourselves to Hashem and we attach ourselves to bitachon, because that was the intent when Hashem gave us things to do, gave us hishtadlus, that we remember all along that it's Him. And I know we've gone longer than I usually go here. It's been 24, almost 25 minutes. But I want to just make one last comment on what we just said. And, the way that it sets up, I like to think about it in a different way. The more I peel away the layers of my judgment of how things should be, my belief of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what He should do for me, and I got to be careful that my Bitachon doesn't become a way for me to maneuver Hashem, to manipulate Hashem. I need to be looking really first for bittul, for a recognition that everything that is Hashem. Everything that's going on is from Hashem. I got to stop judging my situation. When I get into that space, then I can ask Hashem, what do you want me to do now? Now that I've peeled away all the things that I think should be, Hashem, you've been running this world for 5,785 years. And I've been on this earth for not even half a century. So I can't tell you what you should do. I'm not going to tell you what's best for me. I'm not going to tell you. But Hashem, what do you want me to do? What is your will for me? Within Bitachon, I'm searching for Hashem's will. And that doesn't mean I can't ask for something that I want. That's not what I'm saying. But Hashem, first, before I do the hishtadlus, what is it that I think, really, honestly, if I'm honest with myself and I get rid of all of my judgments and all of my beliefs, what is it really that Hashem wants from me? What is it really that He wants me to do? If I could get rid of, you can't get rid of your ego, but if I could get rid of it as best as I can, if I could get rid of all my biases, all of my beliefs, Hashem, what do you want from me? What are the actions that you want me to take? What is the shtadlus that you want me to do? And then take it from there. It's going to be a different world. It's going to be a completely different world. So that's a lot of food for thought. And I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again next time.